Hello and welcome to this new English lesson. I hope it will help you learn more English. I wish you good and useful time. If you want to improve your writing skills, you need to learn how to use connectors. Sometimes they introduce similar ideas and sometimes they join different ones. They combine reason and result, and sometimes can be used to show purpose and choice. Connectors have many different functions, and in our lesson today we are going to learn more about them. أعزائي، في درس اليوم سنتعلم المزيد عن أدوات الربط في اللغة الإنجليزية، وذلك لتطوير مهاراتنا في الكتابة والتعبير. Let's start. First, what are connectors? Connectors are words that connect ideas. So, they are often called joining words. الروابط هي أدوات توضح العلاقة بين الكلمات والجمل. Flowers are beautiful and they have sweet smell. Notice, the connector and join two sentences. The first sentence is, flowers are beautiful. And the second one is, they have sweet smell. And notice the two sentences have similar ideas. Both tell us something good or positive about flowers. So, and joins two similar ideas. نستخدم أداة الربط and لربط الأفكار المتشابهة. Look, the flowers are beautiful, but they have thorns. We have the connector but. It also joins two sentences. The first sentence, these flowers are beautiful. And the second one is, they have thorns. But notice the two sentences have different or contrasting ideas. The first sentence tells us something good about flowers, and the second one tells us something bad or negative about flowers. So we use but to join two different ideas or two contrasting ideas. نستخدم أداة الربط but لربط الأفكار المختلفة أو المتناقضة. Will you go to Jerusalem or will you stay in Jericho? We have the connector or. It joins the two sentences. Will you go to Jerusalem and will you stay in Jericho? Again, we use or to show choice. نستخدم أداة الربط or لعرض البدائل أو الخيارات. Look, it was a sunny day, so we went for a picnic. We had the connector so. It joins reason and result. Now look at this sentence. They had a GPS, therefore they could find their way. Similar to so, therefore joins the first sentence, this is the reason, and the second sentence, this is the result. But notice we have here two separate sentences. أعزائي، أداة الربط therefore تستخدم للربط بين السبب والنتيجة، ولكن هناك فرق حيث أن هنا لدينا جملتان منفصلتان. Let's look at this sentence. Because he fell off the ladder, he broke his leg. Now we have the connector because. Let's have a close look at the sentence. We have two sentences. He fell off the ladder. This is the reason. Why did he break his leg? Because he fell off the ladder. This is the reason. هذا هو السبب. And what happened as a result of that? He broke his leg. This is the result. And notice this is an expected result. هذه هي نتيجة متوقعة. Now we can join the two sentences using because, and the sentence will be, because he fell off the ladder, he broke his leg. Let's have one more example. Because it was raining heavily, we stayed at home. We have two sentences. The first one, it was raining heavily. This is the reason. Why did we stay at home? Because it was raining heavily. هذا هو السبب. And now let's look at the second one. We stayed at home. This is the result. And notice again, we have an expected result. When you hear or when you read this sentence, it was raining heavily, you expect this sentence or a similar one. Now we can join the two sentences and the sentence will be, because it was raining heavily, we stayed at home. But let's look at this sentence. Although it was raining heavily, we went out. Now let's have a close look at the two sentences. The first one, it was raining heavily. This is a statement. Now, what do you expect when you hear or when you read this sentence? It was raining heavily. We expect sentences like, we stayed at home, we carried our umbrellas, or we took shelter under something. But here comes this sentence. We went out. This is an unexpected result. هذه هي نتيجة غير متوقعة أو مفاجئة نوعا ما. We can connect the two sentences using although, and the sentence will be, although it was raining heavily, we went out. إذا أعزائي، تستخدم أداة الربط although لربط الأفكار المتناقضة أو لعرض نتيجة مفاجئة أو غير متوقعة. Although it was raining heavily, we went out. Now notice, although can be replaced by even though. Look, even though it was raining heavily, we went out. And we can also use though. Though it was raining heavily, we went out. So we have although, even though, and though, they have the same meaning with some little differences. Even though is more formal and though is less formal, so it is usually used in speaking. لاحظ عزيزي الطالب أن هذه الكلمات although, even though, and though لها نفس المعنى ونفس الوظيفة. Now notice, when we use although plus idea A plus idea B, there is something surprising about idea B. We don't expect idea B after idea A. لاحظ عزيزي الطالب عندما نستخدم although مع الفكرة ألف وتليها الفكرة باء، فهناك الفكرة باء تحمل معنى مفاجئ أو غير متوقع. لنلاحظ المثال التالي. Although they live near the sea, they never go swimming. Now notice, dear students, that this sentence begins with a connector although. It connects idea A, they live near the sea. Now when we read or when we hear this sentence, we expect that people living in this house go swimming every day. But then comes idea B. They never go swimming. This is strange, or this is an unexpected result. So we use although to connect different ideas or to introduce unexpected result. Now, we can use the connector although at the beginning of the sentence. And in this case, notice, we need the comma. And sometimes we can use although, even though, or though in the middle of the sentence. And in this case, we don't need the comma. لاحظ عزيزي الطالب عندما تأتي أدوات الربط even though, although, though في بداية الجملة، فهنا نحتاج إلى الفاصلة. وعندما تأتي في نصف الجملة أو في منتصف الجملة لا نحتاج إليها. Now we'll stop for a short break and then we will practice using even though, and although. Stay with us, don't go away. come back. As we said before, we use the connectors although, even though, and though to introduce unexpected results. Now let's practice. We are going to join some sentences using these connectors. Let's begin with number 1. We have 2 sentences. Let's read them together. The food was terrible. They ate it up. Notice these are different ideas or contrasting ideas. When you hear the sentence, the food was terrible, you expect that nobody ate it. But then comes the sentence, they ate it up. Can you join them using although, or even though, or though? Good. The sentence will be, even though the food was terrible, they ate it up. Notice, when we use even though at the beginning of the sentence, we need the comma. Now, let's try to join these 2 sentences. The test was very hard. I could pass it. Can you join these 2 sentences? Good. We can say, although the test was very hard, I could pass it. And we can also say, even though the test was very hard, I could pass it. And I can also say, though the test was very hard, I could pass it. Now, let's try to join these 2 sentences. I was very tired. I stayed up late last night. Now, let's join them. We can say, although I was tired, I stayed up late last night. And notice we can use although in the middle, like this. We can say, I stayed up late last night, although I was tired. Now, we have 2 sentences. I washed my shirt twice. It still has coffee stains. Can you join them using even though or although? Good. Even though I wash my shirt twice, it still has coffee stains. And we can also say, although I wash my shirt twice, it still has some coffee stains. Now, let's look at these 2 sentences and try to connect them. A newly born kangaroo can find its mother's pouch. Its eyes are not yet open. Now, let's join these 2 sentences using even though or although. Good. The sentence will be, a newly born kangaroo can find its mother's pouch, although its eyes are not yet open. Now, let's move to other connectors. Look at the picture. Although Rose and Laura are twins, they are very different. When you hear the first sentence, Rose and Laura are twins, you expect that they are very similar. But the second sentence say they are very different. Rose has got fair hair, while Laura has got dark hair. Rose has got blue eyes, whereas Laura has got black eyes. And look at this. Some people prefer to live in cities. However, others prefer rural life. Whereas Mercury is very hot, Saturn is very cold. Now, notice that to show direct opposition between ideas, we usually use while, whereas, and however. لاحظ عزيزي الطالب، عندما نصف جملا متقابلة أو متناقضة فعادة ما نستخدم هذه الروابط while, however, and whereas. Now, we'll stop for a short break and then we'll soon be back. Don't go away, stay with us. Dear students, welcome back. We explained that for opposing ideas, we usually use however, whereas, and while. Now it's time to practice. Look, this is Canada and this is Brazil. Where is Canada? Canada is in North America. And where is Brazil? Brazil is in Latin America or in South America. Canada is in North America, Brazil is in South America. Notice the two ideas are contrasting. These are opposing ideas. لاحظ الأفكار متقابلة أو متناقضة. Now let's join them together using whereas, however, or while. We can say Canada is in North America while Brazil is in South America. كندا تقع في أمريكا الشمالية بينما تقع البرازيل في أمريكا اللاتينية أو أمريكا الجنوبية. And look at this. It's cold in Canada, but Brazil is around the equator. The weather is rather warm. It is cold in Canada, it is warm in Brazil. These are opposing ideas. Can you connect them using however, while, or whereas? Great. The sentence will be, it is cold in Canada, whereas it is warm in Brazil. And notice we should put a comma before whereas, while. Now look. People of Canada usually speak English or French. Both are official languages in Canada. But Brazilians speak Portuguese. Now, let's join these two sentences. Canadians speak English and French. Brazilians speak Portuguese. يتحدث سكان كندا الإنجليزية والفرنسية بينما يتحدث سكان البرازيل اللغة البرتغالية. لاحظ الأفكار متناقضة غير متشابهة. Let's connect them. Canadians speak English and French, whereas Brazilians speak Portuguese. Now, Canada produces a lot of wheat. Brazil is famous for coffee or for producing coffee. Now, can you connect the two sentences using whereas, however, or while? Good. The sentence will be, Canada produces a lot of wheat. However, Brazil is famous for coffee or for producing coffee. لاحظ عزيزي الطالب علامات الترقيم. هنا لدينا جملتان منفصلتان. هنا تنتهي جملة ثم تبدأ جملة أخرى. Now look at this picture. We went to the cinema to watch a new film. Why did we go to the cinema to watch the new film? We use to show purpose. And one more example. I went to the library in order to borrow some books. Why did I go to the library? I went to the library to borrow some books or in order to borrow some books. And look, I need an encyclopedia to get information for my project. Again, I need an encyclopedia to get information for my project. So, from the examples, we can conclude that for showing purpose, we usually use to and in order to. Again, for showing purpose, we usually use to or in order to. They have the same meaning, but in order to is more formal, so it is usually used in writing. This is less formal. عزيزي الطالب، لتوضيح الغرض عادة ما نستخدم هذه الروابط to أو in order to. لديهم نفس المعنى أو تحملان نفس المعنى، ولكن in order to هذا التعبير أكثر رسمية، فلذلك يستخدم بشكل أكبر عند الكتابة. Now it's time to practice. Now let's answer some questions using to or in order to. Let's begin number 1. The first question. Why do children go to schools? Can you answer this question using to or in order to show the purpose? Great. They go to school in order to learn, or they go to school to learn. And the second question, why do we learn English? Why do we learn English? What is the purpose? Can you answer this question using to or in order to? Great. We learn English to communicate with English speakers all over the world. Again, we learn English to communicate with English speakers all over the world. And we can also say we learn English in order to communicate with English speakers all over the world. Now, let's move to another activity. We are going to choose the correct answer. And let's begin with number 1. Although, however, because she lived in USA for 3 years, she didn't learn English. على الرغم من أنها عاشت في أمريكا لمدة 3 سنوات لم تتعلم اللغة الإنجليزية. What is the correct answer? Although, however, or because? And notice, dear students, the two ideas are very different. So, what is the answer? Good. Although she lived in USA for 3 years, she didn't learn English. Now, let's move to number 2. It is very cold, so, but, to, I'm wearing my coat. What is the good connector to join these two sentences? What is the correct answer? Great. It is very cold, so I'm wearing my coat. Notice, this is the reason and this is the result. Why am I wearing my coat? Because it is very cold. So, joins reason and result. I guess this will bring us to the end of our lesson. We have learned much about connectors. Thanks for watching and goodbye.